Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coast-to-Coast Combat Hour. I'm your host, Matthew Hawkins, along with my co-host, Ed Carbajal, and on a weekly basis, we plan to bring you the biggest news and interviews in the world of combat sports. Ed, I survived New York, survived your coast. How you doing since I left, man? You get over all those beers and food we were taking care of?
Yeah, but I think walking around in that rain got me sick. So,
Yeah, that's that East Coast.
so let's introduce our guest, AJ Matthews.
Yeah, what's
Um,
going down?
how are you doing, man? Listen, I've been watching your fights for a while. I rewatched your last fight. I know that wasn't your best one, but what's up, man? What's on deck? Oh, what do you got going on over there?
Man, right now, just kind of, I had a little knee surgery after that one,
Mm.
so just recovering, and then I was hoping for end of January, but it looks like maybe March. Man, I don't know. I'm ready. Well, I guess I'm not really ready. It'd be nice to have some time to get my body back, and so I think it's all right. Maybe March is good.
Are you
Yeah,
still under contract with Bellator?
Yeah, two more with Bellator. I just re-signed. That was the last one. Was my first one on the contract.
yeah. The body never keeps up with the mind. Like mentally, I'm sure you're ready to get back in there, but
Yeah.
obviously you don't want to get back in there and have something go south for you and need more surgery.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for us to do. I think.
So you're in the Southern California area, and I was actually looking back through your record, and I mean, I had seen you fight several times in Bellator, but I didn't realize I actually was at your a bunch of your fights, going back to your second fight at Gladiator Challenge,
Really.
the War on the Mainland fight,
Yeah.
Daily Diaz, and then you've basically, it looks like you fought 10 or 11 times for Bellator.
Yeah.
Um, you enjoy being a part of the Bellator family. Obviously, they treat you pretty well.
Yeah. Bellator has been really good to me, man. So it's been even through like both regimes. I was there for Bjorn, and I've been there for Coker. Both of them were good to me.
Is
Gave me
there
opportunities, and
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you
nah.
said they're both good to you because there seems to be like a lot of people say it's better now. I'm trying to put it in the best way possible. A lot of people say it's better now than the way it was under Rebney. Is that
Yeah.
something you would agree with, or is it's for you? It seems about the same.
It's like you can't compare it, man. Like the UFC is different when it was Hoist and now it's Connor. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
think that because the sport has exponentially grown since Bellator started, and the fact that Bjorn and those dudes made it survive into the second regime, which is Coker, and now there's more opportunities. Maybe because Paramount and also the money being sank in with that. So who knows who, you know what I mean? Maybe if
Mhm.
Bjorn was in this position right now, or maybe he could have never got us there. You know what I'm saying? But they're both good, man. They're both promoters, and they both can. But I really think that Scott Coker is the only guy at MMA that really knows how to build people
Did
like
you
that.
you talking about the way the sport's growing and stuff? Do you have an opinion as far as like I mean it just seems like weird things are happening now. So like I'm sure you've seen the news with UFC doing away with the flyweight division
Mm-hmm.
and the whole thing the trade with ONE FC and with Ben Askren and all that stuff. I mean, as somebody that's been in the sport as long as you have, uh, I mean, where do you see changes like that affecting you? And Bellator brought back tournaments after they kind of did away with them for a while. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you think is in your future as far as a fighter?
Well, I got two more with Bellator, man, and this sport hurts more every year. So I really don't, you know what I'm saying? Fuck, 30 now. I've been fighting for like 11. But it really depends. You're only as good as your last fight. Last fight wasn't good. One before that was great. Fought Kendall. It's hard it's hard for me to find some consistency. But yeah, I like the only important fight is the next one for me, and whoever it is, whatever. I just want to be as well prepared as I can be, and if I'm that way healthy, I'll beat any of them. So I haven't really thought too much about you cross over and things like that. If maybe ONE FC. Well, I was in the Philippines, man, for like the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Living out there, trying to make things happen with Brandon Vera, Alliance Philippines, Coach George Castro. You know what I'm saying? And I was really thinking like, damn, after my contract's up, maybe I'll see what's going on with one.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because I was
Yeah.
over there, but now I'm not over there. You know what I'm saying? And or at least at the moment. So and I'm up in the air right now. But Bellator.
Well, yeah, Coker's obviously been pretty open to allowing fighters jump around a little bit. Were you under contract when you went and fought in Ryzen?
Yeah, that was
Or
their idea. That was their idea. Me, Wheezy, I think somebody else went over there and fought. Man, that was a they were in cahoots, the Ryzen and the Bellator in that show.
obviously, I mean that fight didn't go your way. You fought a really tough opponent in Tokov. But how was the experience fighting in Japan? I mean, what was the fight aside, I guess, but just the atmosphere and being in front of the Japanese crowd, was it any different for you? Or I mean, what were the highlights of that? I've never been to
Yeah,
Japan. It's a place I'd like to go check out one of these days for
you should
fights.
go check it out, dude. It's a nice place for sure, man. Like, and the whole experience was different. Like, we got in kind of late, but we were jet lagged, So we go to this like try to go eat, but lost in translation, So we end up at this restaurant, me, Coach Ed, and my brother, and there's like it's like 3 a.m. In Japan, and there's like a table full of like kind of businessy young people, and they come over and they're like, "Oh, you fight?" You know what I mean? Like, and then we just get into this conversation, and like they like wanted to touch on my muscles. It was just weird, Like you don't really get that, and then we get to the hotel to check in, and it's like there's people in the lobby like with my pictures printed out, and it's like I never really had that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then yeah, so everybody in Japan experience was really cool for me. Man, fuck, man, fight, whatever.
There,
Yeah.
there's in the Japan. It seems like that whole side of the world. It just seems like MMA is the way football is here, And what you just said makes it just reminded me. I'm reading Lee Daly's book that he writes. He writes about the history, the rise and the fall of Pride Fighting Championships,
Mm-hmm.
and then with everything going on now with the trade and watching the press conference with Ryzen and that whole debacle with the Mayweather tension thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like I mean, and you kind of just lit up right now when you talked about it. So, I mean, and you mentioned looking at one. It seems like that just. I actually asked Matt earlier today. I'm like, do you think this is what we're looking at in 2019? Like, do you think a lot of like one is just going to sweep up everybody that wants to still fight?
Well, yeah, I mean, damn or Bellator, you know what I'm saying? It seems
Yeah,
like because Bellator's still picking dudes up, but the
yeah,
UFC is holding on to guys, letting them fight till they're late in their 40s anyway. You know what I'm saying? So maybe nobody's going to be swapping around.
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, one thing about Coker and Bellator, he definitely likes making the fights that people want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to him for they did 208 and was it 207 and 208 here in on the East Coast.
Yeah, yeah,
A-
Mohegan, then Long Island.
Yeah, so they did all the media stuff in New York at Viacom.
Mm-hmm.
And when I spoke to Coker there, and he was all about having Darren Caldwell fight Kyoji Horiguchi for like put their champ versus
Hell yeah.
champ versus champ.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
sick.
yeah, I think it would too. And being that you fought there too, obviously you said they were in cahoots for that event. I mean, would you just jump in over there in a tournament over there or something? I mean, it seems like obviously, like you said, you can only worry about the next fight, but and dealing with an injury now, it probably affects your mood a little bit. But once you get your health back and stuff and your energy back, I mean, would you go all in, like go in all in at Ryzen and or jump in a tournament if because Bellator said they were going to do more tournaments in 2019?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I really think I'll still get in the welterweight Grand Prix that's going on right now.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean? Things happen. Fuck, you know what I'm saying? I really think I'll end up in there, and that's what, you know what I mean? But whatever. But yeah, I mean, if Ryzen's doing shit, man, that'd be because, like I said in all the interviews leading up to the Ryzen fight, for me, it was pride. I wasn't watching UFC. You know what I mean? It was Vanderlei and Rampage.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I'm in the basement, like with my friends. We're all kids back then watching that shit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And like, So yeah, I mean, if I
So
could do if Japan wanted me to fight there, man, I'll fight for Japan.
that's actually really refreshing to hear. I mean, what are you 30? You're 30, right?
30.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's to me that's still young. I'm way older than you guys, but um, oh, not way older than Matt, but I'm older. I'm definitely way older than you, and it's just like when I hear somebody young talk about the hate they have pride and stuff like that, and obviously how it motivated you to get into what you're doing. I just think that that's enlightening to me as somebody that writes about the sport because obviously you guys you have more you're not into the like there's guys that market themselves with trash talk and stuff like that, and you look to do it by performance and wins, and the tournament format is made for guys like you.
Yeah,
Is that something you agree with?
that's how the create like you can't even write it. The storylines happen, and you know what I mean. Like, yeah, that's the fucking blood sport, man. That's the kumite, dog. Let's do
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? That's and and I've been in two weight classes. I'm more crazy than most, So whatever tournament.
You mentioned, when you mentioned Pride, you mentioned Vanderlei. So you would have been what in your mid-teens or so when that was
Hmm.
really kicking off. Was he the guy that got you into this? I mean, if you could name one guy,
Well,
was it Vanderlei or was it Crow Cop or you know?
you know who it was, man? It was Pele Landy.
Oh
Oh, there you
yeah.
go. I had a
Yeah.
Yeah,
chance. Yeah, that's awesome.
and it wasn't even like I didn't even ever see him do full fights. I was just on like LimeWire downloading fight things, and you come
Guy
across
brought
like,
it back with LimeWire.
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
man, yeah. So for me, it was like that dude was so just violent and nutty and like just let it go, And so then that's the guy. And then I've had other mentors in the sport that I look up to, but at the very beginning, like the first person I ever saw fight was Sakuraba, my brother Brian, who was my jiu-jitsu instructor. He's like, you got to see this guy. I'm like 13. Shows me pops in a cassette, and he's like, yeah, he just gets hit, but he doesn't change his expression. Just like he just keeps coming forward.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this dude's nuts. And then I kind of went down maybe a little wormhole or whatever. Found other people who are crazy. Pele, one of them.
Yeah.
Wow,
Did you get to meet him at all or?
Nah, I never met him. It was funny though. I had the chance, man. I should have uh, Manolo Hernandez. You guys know Manolo. He's got Ilima and all them in San
Yeah.
Diego. But he's like, there was a time where I posted something about, man, I like Pele, and he was like, man, Landy's at the gym, like training with us right now. You should come down, but I don't know, I'm too much of a punk to go down there or something like that.
yeah, I had a chance to meet him at the what was it? The Fedor Brett Rogers fight in Chicago. I saw him
Crazy.
walking around the crowd, and it was, same kind of way. Out of the names you could have thrown out, it would have been Pele, Igor Vovchanchin. I mean, there's a few
Igor.
guys you could have thrown out right there, but that's great that that's what got you in. I mean, I don't see how anybody could watch those guys and not, at least, I never fought, but I got involved in the sport, and
Yeah.
it's just been around it so much. But
Yeah,
so we're
guys like that will either make you want to do it or never want to do it. You
Well,
know
they'll
what I mean?
they'll at least make you want to watch it. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean that's like you said, Pele, Vanderlei,
yeah,
Shogun, or those guys showed up every single time and put it on the line. So
yeah,
where are you? How did So why don't we get into it a little bit? How you started fighting professionally when you were 19? When did you
yeah.
start training, and when did you decide to make the jump and actually get into a cage?
I started training when I was 14. I moved in with my oldest brother Brian, and he was in college at the time doing jujitsu kind of on the weekend on like Sundays. So then I was in high school, so I just moved to schools. I didn't know anybody, so then he just brought me with him to do jujitsu. And then the group of guys that we were with was just a special group, and those guys started fighting. Gladiator Challenge came to the cage. We're going to Lemoore, California. You know what I mean? All that old school shit.
Hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm a product of my environment 100% that way. You know what I mean? I was just doing no-gi jiu-jitsu when I was a kid, and then I was 16, and now I'm helping men get ready for fights. You know what I mean? And then from there, I went and played college soccer. I got a scholarship, but when I was in college, it's kind of stupid, man. I got a registration ticket for your car.
Yeah.
And then I let it go like past the month or something. So then I got a $500 fine ticket in the mail, and I was like, fuck. But at the same time, I was offered a fight paying $500. And so I went to my soccer coach, and I was like, hey, Coach Chris, I know it's all crazy, but can I fight? And then I had to get cleared by the NCAA, and it was okay. So that's when I started fighting, man.
And
And
that
then
was that the fight? Was that the Total Combat fight?
Total Combat Yuma.
Yeah, and that was I went to the couple of events in Tijuana and in Balboa Park and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was run. Now that was run by Ali Malay's manager, right? Manolo
Manolo was the cage announcer.
Okay.
I think Del Fiero put it on, but I'm not 100% sure who was behind the scenes.
But he was definitely the cage announcer. I've talked to him about
Yeah.
that. I ran into him at some of the weigh-ins. So that's going back to 07. So that's a while
It's been a
back.
while, man.
And then so who did you did you go to high school here in the San Diego area?
Yes, I graduated from Carlsbad High.
Okay. Yeah, my sister graduated from there. I'm RBV, so
RBV.
right around the way.
Yeah,
But
Longhorns, hook 'em.
there you go. What so who did you train with around here? What gyms was it that you got going with?
Well, it was like my brother and his group of friends. They started the North County Fight Club, and for a while there, we're pretty affiliated. We were in North County, San Diego, and so the fight team was Alliance in Chula Vista, But we kept a pretty close relationship where sometimes the Alliance guys would come up, but a lot of times I was going down, sparring days, things like that. So I've always claimed Team Alliance day one, but it's been the same group of guys from the garage at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
That was Jason Lambert and some of those other guys, wasn't it?
Lambert, Manny Rodriguez, my brothers, Brian Whitaker. It was Matt Stansel and Jeff Clark. A couple of them, went our separate ways. But yeah, Lambert.
Yeah, he's the name I mainly remember from that. Because he was probably UFC at that time.
Yeah.
Cool.
So do you like, as far as your base, like, a lot of guys consider themselves strikers, grapplers. You mentioned jiu-jitsu a lot. Obviously, that's how you fell into it. You consider yourself a submission guy, a grappler, or are you just well-rounded, or what?
No,
What would you define yourself?
If you looked at my fights, then I'm a striker. But I've got no gi jiu-jitsu, man. I can wrestle, but I'm a striker, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, with 6 KOs or 6 finishes, 6 of the 9, I think, are knockouts, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then I've only competed in grappling once when I was a white belt, and I've done one pro boxing fight, one pro Muay Thai fight.
Oh yeah, how'd you do in the boxing? Because you always hear boxers say, "Oh, MMA guys won't jump over," and I always have to defend MMA and say, "Yeah, they do it all the time."
There's a learning curve, but I won third round knockout.
Nice.
Going through your career, who's somebody that you would like a rematch with, and who's somebody that you'd like to fight that's currently on the Bellator roster?
Man, see, I never really thought maybe Tokov. I'd like to fight Tokov in a rematch and in Bellator.
So that answers both questions in
both
one.
Questions, yeah.
In one.
But that's
shot.
I would have to go up to 85, and to me, whatever. Those guys are big, but a welterweight, man, it's for me. I've always been it's been Lima. Mm-hmm. Ever since I've been in Bellator, it's been Doug Lima, and so I respect him a lot. I want that guy.
I'd like to see you fight Shlemenko. I'd like to see Shlemenko come down. Maybe a 175 catchweight or something like that.
I would go up for that.
Yeah, I mean, because he's not a huge middleweight, but he's coming off a couple losses. But yeah, he's not gonna lay on top of you. And
he just fought Tokov last time.
He just fought Tokov, and he had lost to Masashji the fight before that in a fight that a lot of people thought he won. So
yeah, you should say that louder, man. Maybe some people will hear that. Me and Shlemenko, I've wanted that for a while.
Well, there you go. Well, whether it's here in Bellator or M1 or somewhere, they gotta, that sounds like the fight that I'd like to see.
Yeah, right.
I think that works for everybody involved.
All parties.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fighting so much. I feel like if you watch, and I mean, he's got a lot. He's got a big record too. Um, it was weird watching him fight the last time because he fought at in Long Island. I think it was on that card.
Mhm.
And like the media guy sitting next to me, I said, watch, he's gonna throw at least one spinning back fist each round, and he actually threw 4 spinning back fists in that whole fight, and
Yeah,
none of them landed. So I was just like, I said, he might be getting predictable. I know he's still a hammer and all that, but
yeah.
I was just like, I don't know, he might be getting predictable.
The thing about him, man, is that he throws all of his shit like he doesn't care about it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? He throws it hard.
He's another one of those throwback fighters like Pele and Vanderlei, and
You
you
see
know,
what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I mean that's what people pay to see. I mean, obviously everybody likes to watch great talent like Logan Storley and Ben Askren and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. But when you get a chance to watch somebody like Storm Shlemenko or any of the
Mhm.
old school guys, I mean that's what we're basically there with Fedor right now. I mean,
Yeah.
whether you love Fedor or hate him, I mean nobody can argue that he doesn't put up a hell of a fight every time he goes in that cage
Every
and
time that beta joint's gonna be crazy, right?
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can see, I got my Fedor sweater hanging in the background, so I'm,
Nice.
you know where I'm leaning, but
Yeah, there we go. That's tight.
yeah, so
You
I'll
know
be,
what? He was out there on the Rising too when I was out there. So just imagine how that was, you know.
I
yeah,
mean, as a guy that just said he was a fan of Pride and stuff, and then having to go and fight in Ryzen, I mean, it's gotta be amazing to you to be, especially with Bellator, where a lot of people, I mean, Bellator, Coker is not shy about liking the way Japan does MMA and
Yeah,
the
Coker's
things that,
old school
yeah,
K1 dude. Like
yeah.
he's been in the game, Japanese game even.
Yeah, so are you do you get like starstruck when you if there's legends on the same card as you or at a media event or something?
Last person. Oh, dude, I fucking took a selfie with Sakuraba when he was walking down the ramp. You know what
That's
I'm
cool,
saying?
man. Yeah.
And then me and my brother and I seen Hickson in the back.
Oh wow.
We're like, can we take a picture with you, Mr. Hickson? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's like I think those are the only two. Like maybe if Vanderlei didn't fix his nose, I would do that. But now he just I don't. You know what I'm saying? He don't look the same to me. And then, but yeah, not really. But like, oh yeah, I took a picture with Hoost.
Oh
And I took
wow.
a yeah. Ernesto Hoost was in Japan. You know what I mean? Like Rob, I've taken a picture with Rob Kamen. There's certain
Oh
guys.
wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, do you ever were you ever disappointed when you met anybody, or was it just a brief encounter? Because I would figure, being that you guys are in the same business, they'd be a little more relaxed or looser with you.
No, yeah, with me everybody's cool. With me
Yeah.
everybody's cool. I've never been like put off by an interaction with somebody. It's always been good.
Yeah, no, because you hear stories of people talking about, oh, I finally get to meet this person I looked up
Hmm.
to her as a legend, and they're like, oh, they weren't that cool as I thought they were gonna be. It
Yeah,
happened with me with Hollywood people, not like fighters and stuff. Fighters are
yeah.
generally cool people all around.
Yeah, normally it seems like you know what I mean. Most of the guys I meet, there's some dicks out there, but most of the guys are all right.
Did you like when you take the pictures with them? Did you find yourself to get a little fanboyed out or nervous?
No, I mean just like man, for me it's just like that's a cool
Yeah.
memory for me. I could tie it back to like a lot of things that I was interested in, and you know what I mean, appreciate. So nothing like that, but it's just dope because I think I'd still fight any of them.
That's good.
that's what you
Yeah,
gotta do.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Fedor Bader fight, who do you pick in that fight?
Fedor.
Hey, sounds good to me.
Re-
I can't argue with that one.
Fedor's gonna armbar him, dude, in the fourth.
Oh, you see a submission. I see. Like if Fedor wins for me, I think, and this is obviously just my opinion based on what I've seen. I think it's going to be the way he's been dropping dudes. Since with the wins he has in Bellator. I didn't think about a submission. And if anything, if it goes the other way, it's because Bader will do. He'll do what he's been doing the whole tournament, just wrestling and holding people down. You know.
Being a monster.
Yeah.
He is a monster at that weight, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
I saw him in the elevator. Holy fuck, it's like 240 or something. His head's all big too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, all you guys are kind of monstrous when we see you up close. Like, I go to a lot of events to cover for different outlets, and like Chris Weidman fights at 185, and
Mhm.
he's huge
Yeah,
for 185.
85ers, dude, are big people. Like that's when you can really see the difference in like just the frame of a person. The shoulders just wider, the rib cage is just bigger. You know?
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you normally walk around? I know you prefer a welterweight, and you fought at 185. But what do you walk around at when obviously you're healing, so you're probably heavier than normal.
Nah, I'm like 190 pounds. I don't. Sometimes if I start lifting real hard, I'll get like closer to two. But I'm like 190 pounds, man. Not too big.
And the weight cut doesn't bother you to get down to welterweight, or
No, no. I mean, obviously it sucks now after having the luxury of not needing to cut weight.
yeah.
Earlier in my career, I would fucking chop 20 pounds like nothing, and then then go to middleweight, don't have to cut anything, and then try like going back. It's like you're sitting in the sauna, just fuck. It makes it real tough, dude.
Yeah, the body's weird though. I remember you talked about you said you did a grappling competitions as a white belt, and it was the same for me years ago when I started jiu-jitsu. I said let me compete, and when I competed, it was hard for me to cut weight, and the lightest I could get was 190.
Mm-hmm.
And then not that many years ago, I was like 32. Just by dieting and doing a lot of activity, I got down to 176.
Crazy,
So
right?
yeah, it's just the body's it's just weird. I mean, I know education counts for a lot too, but as far as like knowing how to cut weight smart, but I don't
Yeah,
know, man. That's why you guys are different. You're different. You're higher level humans than us people that just watch the sport.
just dumber, man. We're just dumber, dumber, and maybe more stubborn.
Yeah.
When you're you've had a lot of fights locally. Do you prefer the local fight or do you prefer to travel for fights? I've talked to a lot of guys who it's kind of been mixed. Some guys like to get away from everything, and some people like to sleep in their own bed. What do you prefer?
Yeah, dude. Fight's a fight. I don't think I don't know. I think that's not. I think that going away on fight week is cool because you're in a place that you've never been with some of your closest homies. You know what I mean? You get to eat the food that's there, and see the culture, and you know I think that's cool. But when you're home, I don't know. Maybe I like going away, maybe. But then you got a travel day and all that bullshit. So fuck, dude. They both suck. Fight
It,
weeks.
some people handle like media obligations and everything during fight week with the weight cut and making the weight and all that stuff.
Uh,
How do you handle it? Do you like it? You hate it, or does it depend on the fight and the time of year?
the you know the whole time that you're doing this, trying to get to a place where people want to ask you questions, and then when it comes to the time where you get there and you have 6 phone interviews lined up, and it's like they just asking me that I'm just saying the same exact thing over and over again. I never knew that it would be like that, but I guess I should have known.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's what we asked for. It's what we want. It's what we need. I just wish it was more fun.
You fought in Japan, you fought in Canada. Did you have any amateur fights? Are there any fights from your record in other countries that aren't listed, or have you traveled
No.
with other teammates to other foreign countries?
Yeah, I went to Jakarta with Igor Sabora. I cornered him 1FC. I've been to England with Ross Pearson. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I cornered in Mexico, just over there on TNTJ. Yeah, I don't know. That's what's kind of been cool about my fight life. It's been all over the world. It's a lot of fun. I cornered in Japan because I fought on the first night, and then Brennan Ward fought on the second night. I cornered him. Yeah, man, been all over the place with that shit.
Yeah, that's cool. I one of my buddies is Virgil Zwicker, and
Oh, damn, me and Virgil are homies, dude.
yeah, he just signed another fight to fight somewhere in Russia. I'm trying to
That dude's
lock in.
crazy.
He is crazy, man. He just his last fight he showed up in Russia. They changed his opponent on him and gave him a guy 340 pounds, 6'7", undefeated wrestler. So he ended up fighting basically a polar bear in front of Putin. And, it didn't work out great for him.
For cash though.
Yeah, but I know he loves it. I mean, he loves going to Chechnya or Sochi
just being that. You know what I mean? He likes being the outcast, like the fucking underdog. That guy's cool, man.
Yeah, he was supposed to have a bare knuckle. The bare knuckle people I think screwed with him. I think he was supposed to have a fight this Friday night on the Hendricks event, but
that's that WBKFF or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're gonna. I guess
they've been falling apart this whole week from what I noticed.
Yeah, there's like two. Are there two of those boxing organizations, and one of them's not doing very good with making people happier contracts.
Yeah, there's two bigger ones, but the ones had 3 events that have all been fairly successful, and this was supposed to be the debut for this other one. But they had Brendan Ward dropped out yesterday or the day before, and I think Sean Merriman, the former Charger,
I've been seeing that
linebacker. He seems to have dropped out too. So I know they got Dakota Cochran to stay on the card to fight Hendricks. I guess Hendricks was pretty bummed coming out of retirement and having a full camp and then getting a couple days away. So at least they got somebody for him to fight. But what do you think?
I hope those lightweight dudes get to go at it. That's a tournament, right?
Yeah, that's Robbie Peralta, and I don't know the whole guys, but
I got my homies Nick the Ghost in there, Mike Bronzoulis in there. I was on Fight Master with him.
That's right. You were on Fight Master. Gosh, who do we had Cutman Matt Marsden for Bellator.
Yeah, and he always wraps my hands.
Yeah, he was telling us some of the stories from behind the scenes during Fight Master.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
Did you sorry to cut you off, Matt. Talking about with the bare knuckle boxing and looking at other options. I mean, and you said you boxed before. When you do something like that, I mean, and I'm always curious just because, like when you look at obviously the one that everyone references is Conor Mayweather because that was the most recent. Is that when you have to adjust your rule set that you train for? Is that in your opinion, is that a hindrance or does it make it an easier competition for you?
No, I mean when I was training for a boxing fight, I didn't think about anything but boxing in the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some people were like, "Oh, he's gonna want to kick him." Yeah, he's concentrated on boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I fought Muay Thai, I wasn't thinking about shooting doubles and defending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just is what it is. If you put your mind in that direction, then that's what you're going to be thinking about. And but we're at a huge disadvantage because that's all that person has ever thought about.
Yeah.
And there's like it's a whole different game, and it's beautiful in that way. You know what I mean? But I learned a lot by just going to boxing only. Like, man, that shit's tough. A lot of it makes sense, but it's hard. It's hard to land a shot on a fucking dude who can box. It's hard to land a shot on a dude who can box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think? Do you think? I mean, obviously, you have to be present in what you're doing and focusing on the fight at hand. But do you think is it like can it bring over bad habits when you return to your base sport or your base art?
That's mixed martial arts, I think. Like you just you're gonna learn a shitload of different shit, and then you just take these 3 things that can come with you then. You know what I mean? Or just this one thing that can come with you then. And so I really think that by putting so much work and discipline into one, then you can know more, like your general knowledge is more, and you can pick out of like a more of a variety of tools than somebody who doesn't know how to box. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be a hindrance at all. Obviously, you could choose the wrong thing or fall in love with the wrong technique. If you want to do that fucking the Philly thing and you're getting hit in the back of the head with a small glove, you're gonna go to sleep. Or you're gonna get kicked in the leg. But if you move your head like a boxer and you stay balanced and you can move your feet like a boxer, then you're fucking difficult to deal with. So you just have to take obviously the right weapons from each discipline, which makes it fun.
Would the
Yeah.
bare knuckle boxing be something that you would ever be interested in giving a try, or is that a little too? I mean, I don't want to say too hardcore. You've done all you've done as hardcore as possible, but it also is a different. It's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, if there was money, I hear they were paying dudes.
Yeah.
But for me, I think I would like if I was gonna go do something crazy. I think I would rather do Lethway, which is over there. You know what I mean. If I was gonna go, just I don't want any protection. I just want to see if I'll die or the other guy will die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would go to Burma and fucking do Lethway with headbutts and fucking Muay Thai and elbows and you know what I mean. But yeah, fuck, I'll box them dudes.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Lethway thing, that is really the peak right now. I mean, I don't think a lot of American combat fans are all that familiar with that, but everybody should look that up. There's some wild YouTube videos of
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
knocking each other out with
You just have to
headbutts.
watch. Have you seen the one of this? My homie Cyrus Washington.
No, I'd be lying if I was completely caught up on everything there, but I'll
Yeah,
look his fight up.
yeah. It's an episode of Phuket Dreaming, which is like Phuket Top Team is my team out there when I'm in Thailand.
Uh-huh.
But they had like a little web series, and they did one episode. It's like 10 minutes long on Black Dynamite Cyrus Washington, where he goes over there and fucking fights a dude in Burma, and it's just a crazy thing, and so it's like really informative, about the sport and the culture and why they do things, and so it's just a good watch.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah. I'm making a note of it now. Where is that? Was that on YouTube or
YouTube, Phuket Dreaming, Black Dynamite.
Black Dynamite? Cool.
Yeah, text me after you watch it. That shit's crazy.
Some of the recent events, we want to give some of the news from over the weekend.
Mm.
As Ed knows, I flew to New York for my 40th birthday. Fell on Saturday for the Big 230 event, so
Damn.
had to show up at Madison Square Garden and
Had to.
I had to celebrate. I couldn't not. Had to get the poster with my birthday on it, and
Hell yeah, that's sick, man.
had to do it. But we're not going to go through the whole card with the time we got. But in the co-main event, I know Ed and I both had picked Chris Weidman to win. It was a fight.
Why, man?
He was winning up until
he was winning. It was kind of what his fights have become, where he comes out real strong and then he gets tired. Don't get me wrong. I wrote, Jacare they're probably two of my top five, favorite middleweights of all time.
All time.
So and they're both respectful, gentlemen in and out of the cage. So I'm definitely a big fan of both. But Jacare ended up winning that fight with a middle third round
forehead
knockout.
punch.
Just a devastating punch. It didn't even, and there was a little controversy with referee Mirgliata. I think he was, I was going through some of my photos, and a guy on the MMAcommunity.com forum pointed out that the pictures I posted has, Big Dan's actually standing behind Jacare when he throws the punch. So I don't know if he was screened out from actually seeing how bad Weidman was hit, because when it went down to the ground, Weidman was basically on all fours. Just kind of ankle picking, but didn't have any idea where he was. And Jacare had to actually plead to the ref to kind of stop the fight. So it was a class act from Jacare, but
But just to answer AJ's question as to why, because on my DraftKings I had Jacare picked, but the thing is, so Weidman did a lot to get. I mean, in my area, it matters a lot. He did a lot to get the ban on MMA lifted in the state. So usually when he's on, like when he fights in Long Island or if he fights in the Garden, I mean, you have to kind of root for the guy.
Put it on him, yeah.
Yeah, because he was kind of like an ambassador for the sport to get it.
So
legalized.
not for any real reasons that had to do with the fight, but really just because he did a lot.
Yeah, like you got like the way they root for the Giants and Yankees and all that stuff. So
I get it. You gotta stay loyal to the game, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there was for me. It was when my niece was born at 1 pound and was in the hospital for a year, and he retweeted out a tweet. I had a picture of her while watching one of his fights, and then he walked away at the UFC Expo. He left the stage to walk over to shake my hand when I was holding I printed out an 8x10 and he signed it to her. So it's she's a healthy 4-year-old now, but it sits in her room. So she's got Chris Weidman and Chuck Liddell autographs and
so cool, man.
So it's stuff like that. I obviously, like I said, I'm a huge Jacare fan, but that's a fight I've been wanting for a while.
It's a sick fight. That's such a sick fight.
And it lived up to the hype. Although Jacare won by knockout, a lot of people are saying that's one of the top 5 fights of the year so far, and it was a back and forth battle, and then and then it went into the main event that night, and I think everybody knew kind of what was going to happen when we had Daniel Cormier and Derek Lewis. Cormier fought.
What do you think about that, man? Like, hey, Derek, you've won so many fights. Do you think you want a title shot? No. I need to go to the gym. There's no way I can fight for a title. And then the next day, he's on the poster to fight for a title. Like, what do you think we think? Like, we think he's going to fucking believe that he can win after he just said that he doesn't believe that he can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that was
stupid, man.
I agree with you 100%. That was just the last minute. I mean, the fight went down exactly the way people saw it was going to go down. I mean, you put a guy in that said not only was he not ready, but that he didn't want it yet either.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I mean, we had Popeye's Chicken at the media thing Friday night, and I mean, it was all fun and games or whatever. He had fun, but it's like, I don't know. I almost felt bad for him.
Yeah. If the fighting's not important, then what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I get that perspective. I also see that, I don't know. In the real world, to me, there's no version of Derek Lewis that ever beats Daniel Cormier. And if I don't, not being a fighter, but if you were gonna fight Musashi, would you rather fight him when he's only got 3 weeks to train for you, or would you rather have a 6-month training camp for him?
Whenever.
I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it.
You're asking the fighter.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's a fair question. I mean,
he wants to fight now with his
you know what? I would want him to know that it's me for as long as he could.
Okay. Yeah, no, that, I mean, that's I just
the other ways that's kind of you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I didn't. For me, Lewis's only chance was a one punch, lucky punch, and
he threw things, man.
Yeah.
All that shit would have hurt, dude. Could you imagine getting kicked in the forearm by that guy?
Yeah. Yeah, he did that jumping head kick he did in the first round.
He's all crazy.
Yeah.
But
but like it's also the thing too.
And then just quit.
Yeah. But it's also like you said, AJ. I mean, obviously he said he didn't want it, but I mean, if you're fighting, like you said, you want to jump in a welterweight tournament right now with your bad knee. You know what I mean? Like if the opportunity presents itself, you can't say no. It's what you guys do.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for taking it.
No, I mean,
it's not on him at all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything about him.
Yeah.
What he said was honest, and then he got pushed into something. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you're not.
Dog.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, he probably got the biggest payday he's ever going to get. He got to headline an event at Madison Square Garden. Obviously, as a fighter, you want to win every fight, but if that fight takes care of his,
some are easier to lose,
Yeah, I guess that's the best way to say it. If he's got that extra 0 or 2 zeros on his paycheck, it'll be easier to sleep at night. And he fought one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Yeah, and he fought the baddest dude. And then it's like, I don't know what
he showed up.
DC was like trying to make it seem like, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, well, he's the baddest. He's the blah blah blah. Like, I don't know, man. It just, to me, it wasn't the right fight, but that's how heavyweight fighting is. It's how it's always been boxing. You know what I mean? Guys just be smoking dudes that really shouldn't be there yet or not yet. You know what I mean? That's just fight sports, but that's, and then again, I just have an opinion. Whatever. Don't matter.
Yeah, well, the UFC dropped the ball on that whole event. I mean, this shouldn't have been the main event, but obviously props to both of the guys for stepping in and giving guys
company guys.
Yeah, well, guys, and there's always the fan side, as somebody who goes to a ton of events, there's always a spot in my heart, I guess I want to say, for guys that are willing to fight and take the last minute opponent. And, people are paying to show up, and obviously you guys got your health and everything to worry about. So you don't owe us anything. But when somebody takes a last minute fight or signs their name on the dotted line to do it, in a quicker fashion. That as a fan, I'll be a fan of both of those guys forever, no matter what happens, just because they didn't leave me with Sajara Eubanks and Roxanne Martifari as a main event. You know what I mean? You never know, and that's not a knock on either one of them either. But it easily could have happened.
But it was true, Doug.
No, they're both good fighters. I'm a fan of Roxy, and Sajara's good too, but she's just got her weight issues. She's got to figure out where she's going to be.
That's the one that okay.
She was the one who she missed weight on the Tough in the Ultimate Fighter finale, so she missed out on her title shot. And then they talked about her fighting Valentina Shevchenko in this one in the main event, and it kind of went about a day before social media said, if you give us that main event, you're going to have 13 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
So they pulled it, and then she got on social media and basically told all the fans to shove it. She's going to make weight and show that she should be world champion, and then she shows up again and misses weight. So it is just, but that's
I've been close to missing weight before. I've had to recut like 4 times in my, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But
you wouldn't miss weight twice, miss a championship fight, and then show up on social media and tell everybody they're out of their goddamn minds for thinking you're going to miss weight, and then show up and miss weight again.
That's the thing, man. I with things like that. I try to bite my tongue, because maybe one day, maybe what they were going through has never happened to me. But at the same time, man, it sucks. It sucks when the contract's not withheld by, you know what I mean? Like, come on, guys, let's just do it all right. Let's just make everything right. Fucking go in there, be fair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would you adjust the weight classes at all, or do you think it's fine as it is?
I think it's fine, dude. I think that's just people that want easier fights. Like, I just think it's lame, dude.
I kind of fall into. I mean, I'd rather just, I in a perfect world there'd be no weight classes and everybody would just agree to fight who they want to fight. That's and as long as you show up within 15 pounds of each other, then let's do it. But
shit, that there's the gap. I'm one of the guys, man. I'm one of the guys that should have an opinion about weight classes, because I'm in the middle. I'm like, I can be a big welterweight. I can be a small middleweight. So I should be complaining. You know what I mean? But I'm not, because that's the way that it is. That's the way that the sport is, and the rules are, and the fucking organizations are. So I don't get it. I just don't understand it, really.
Well, if they make a 175, you're just going to be fighting a bunch of the big 185ers anyway, who decide to cut extra 10 pounds or try to.
If it was 75, I'd be fighting all the same people I'm fighting right now.
Yeah.
But then I'd fight them twice. I'd fight them at 70, 75, 82, 85. You know what I mean? And that's how boxing is. And then you lose track. There's like 15-time world champions that you don't even fucking know who they are.
Yeah.
They're in a stupid weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, man. That's one thing about boxing that's like, it's one of even my father who still tries to watch boxing. We after his surgery, we watched. I forgot what PBC event it was where the guy walked out at the beginning of the first belt, but he watched it and he looked at me and he was just like. He's like, I don't know, because he used to box too, and he was just like, I don't know what happened to this sport, because it's like there's more weight classes than you know about. And speaking of which, you were talking about the heavyweights and the matchmaking. I'm only asking you because it's popular conversation around here.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you got between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury?
Fury.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I
think he's just a better technical boxer. He's got better footwork than Wilder. Just kind of throws haymakers.
Yeah, it's like Wilder. He just hits people in the back of the head with that crazy club.
Yeah.
So if Fury's trying to be cheeky and box, you can still get. You know what I mean? But I think he's good. I think he can do a lot of things. Move his head, move his feet, punch. I think that guy's tight.
Speaking of picking fights, this Saturday is the 25th anniversary event for the UFC, going back to November of 1993. And they're having it in Denver, a fight night free on Fox Sports 1. I think starting the prelims start at 5, and then the main card comes on at 7. Not going to do the whole card, but the top 2 fights are pretty damn interesting. Cowboy Cerrone, Donald Cerrone versus Mike Perry.
Yeah.
Two former training partners. Seems to be a little bit of bad blood between the two of them. I don't know if it's hype or actual, but how do you see that fight going? Who's your guy in that fight?
I would like to see Cowboy win, but I just think that he's a 55er. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I really haven't watched Mike Perry fight. I saw a little bit of the like Ponza Bibio or whatever that dude's name is, and
Uh-huh.
the Perry. Like he fought Perry, right?
I
Mhm.
believe so. Yes.
And that was like more competitive than I thought it was going to be. So I really think that if Cowboy can use some of his longer tools, that it's a tough fight. But if Mike Perry gets to move his feet in and throw something heavy, we've all you know what I mean. If not, you can't really take that punch. Not a lot of guys can.
No, Perry throws bombs. If I guess if I was trying to write up a game plan for Cerrone, I would say Perry's weakness is obviously the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and Cerrone's got some really good, jiu-jitsu and submission wrestling. So I wouldn't mind seeing him try that. I mean, I don't
I
think he
bet he
will.
finishes him to the body, man.
You think that Cerrone will finish him to the body, or
Yeah,
Cerrone will get
he's gonna
Yeah.
like toe kick him in the body or something, man.
Yeah.
that?
It's gonna be hilarious.
How about you, Ed? How do you see?
I mean, AJ brings up a good point. I mean, obviously, I think Perry has, if he lands something heavy on Cerrone, he can drop him because he got dropped by, and I'm trying to think who else he lost to by TKO or knockout. But AJ brings up a good point. I mean, like, and Boss says it all the time too. If you guys are Pride fans, guys that have the bigger muscles and more body mass, they need more oxygen. So the longer the fight goes, that power will fade. And if Cerrone does use his range, like AJ said, I think he could wear him out, and a body shot would drop him.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be like a step
yeah,
in knee on one of them wild right hands, or it's gonna be a toe kick to the liver, dog. Telling
yeah,
you.
I like that.
yeah.
I
No,
like
that
that.
definitely makes a lot of sense. I mean, so early, I think if Perry can't hurt him early, I think it's Cerrone's fight to win. Cerrone's fight to win.
Yeah.
Then the main event's a late replacement. So we got late replacement Yair Rodriguez, who's stepping in for one of the East Coast guys, Frankie Edgar, and he's
Mm.
fighting Korean Zombie Chan Sung Jung. Um, I mean, on paper, this is an amazing bout. Uh,
Yeah.
I feel like the Korean Zombie is going to use some of his ground game and take out Rodriguez, especially on late notice. Rodriguez's last fight, if I'm correct, was the Frankie Edgar fight,
Yeah,
where he got taken down over and over again and got beat to a pulp. So I know.
Can't nobody else wrestle like Frankie, man.
yeah,
No, that's true, but the Korean Zombie's definitely got those twister submissions, and I mean he's got a hell of a ground game. Now
For
they
sure.
might stand and bang, but if they stand and bang, then Yair's got those kicks, and I mean this could turn out to be an amazing, you know,
I
UFC
call
one style.
I call Yair via rangy weapons.
There you go.
like one of those cartwheel upside down kicks or
He's
whatever
gonna
the
do.
hell he
He
throws.
might
Yeah,
even just jab, low
yeah,
kick, jab, spin, jab. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The zombie's got work to do.
I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. I mean, I almost like this fight more than the original one. I'm obviously a big Frankie Edgar fan, but
Nah, you want Frankie in there, man.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's this. I think this is a better fight. I don't know.
Nah, I mean, I honestly wanted
Then
the Frankie
Frankie
fight.
and the
Yeah.
zombie. This short notice Yair is a better fight
No,
than
yeah,
Frankie and the zombie.
I think
yeah.
it's a more exciting fight.
You're corny,
Oh,
man.
hey. Oh,
Me and AJ are against
I'm
you
over
on
here
this
with Ed, dude.
one.
I don't
No.
know.
Let me see.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
when's Frankie been in a boring fight?
Yeah, dude. Come on,
Or the
man.
zombie?
What are you still jet lagged? What's wrong with
You
you?
must see. You must have just flown back. You little wine country. He's had some drinks, man.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah,
no.
dude.
I,
All three of them dudes are crazy and
yeah.
fucking exciting. You know what I mean?
yeah, no. I mean,
They should have
and
a three-way.
there you go. We can have a triple threat. But I'll be ready to reach out when fight of the year is comes after this weekend, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
no, actually, my phone broke. If that happened, then you won't get a hold of me.
no, like I said, I think it's a good replacement. Let's just put it
Oh,
that
for
way.
sure.
I think on the last minute replacement, I don't think there's anything better you could have
can't do
got.
any better than that. Yeah.
If both fighters stand, I think we're in for an oold school, slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say. But
Slobber knocker.
man, AJ, thank you. I know I got a hold of you late today, so it's been late notice, but I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
No, that's tight, man. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, do you want to throw out any social media or any sponsors or anything?
I'm at AJ_MMA, man. It's always been MRM Nutrition, Versa Climber, Team Alliance, The Garage, you guys, Alliance Philippines, Barangay Tibay, shit, Boardwalk Law, Aussie's Plumbing. Those are my people. Thanks very much, guys. I had a blast, for real. Let's talk whenever you want.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
When you get your fight signed, let us know. We'd love to have you on to announce it, or at least come on and talk to you before you get too tight into camp there. And if it's local, I'll be happy to see you around the events here, whether it's at Pachanga or Long Beach or
hell yeah,
San Jose or wherever you end up.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I'll
and
let
if you
guys
come out, if you fight out east, obviously, I mean, I'll probably be covering it, so you can always reach.
I've been meaning to fight at the Mohegan, man. I got some Northeast homies.
Oh, word, yeah. Mohegans of Sons, it's a great venue too.
Hell yeah.
And CJ and Danny and all them, they do their diligence, man. Those guys
they'd be all right, huh?
Cool. All right, well, everybody can follow us at Combat Hour on Twitter, myself at MMA Hawk 21 on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Ed at Carbazol on Twitter and at Carbeerzol on Instagram. Thanks again, AJ. Appreciate having you on, and I'll talk to you soon, Ed.
Cool.
Peace out.